All right, have you been dreaming of finally getting behind the wheel and hitting the open road? Well, if you live in Arkansas, that dream can become a reality a whole lot faster than you might think. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're completely decoding the Arkansas Learner's Permit process. We're going to break down the exact step-by-step roadmap to get you from absolute beginner to perfectly prepared permit holder. We'll cover the official rules, the testing requirements, and yes, that often confusing paperwork. Whether you're a teen eager to drive or a parent trying to help them navigate this whole system, you are absolutely in the right place.
Now, here is the really wild part, the age requirement. Unlike most states where you're stuck waiting until you're 15 or 16, Arkansas actually lets you kickstart your driving journey early, like really early. You can start the process at just 14. But there's a catch, right? You can't just jump into the driver's seat and take off. There is a very specific, structured system you've got to follow first.
To make this whole thing crystal clear, we've broken our explainer down into 5 actionable phases: the Arkansas Permit Basics, preparing and scheduling, the required paperwork, conquering test day, and finally, the rules of the road.
So let's dive right into Phase 1, the Arkansas Permit Basics, where we'll focus on understanding the framework of the system.
Arkansas uses what's officially called a Graduated Driver Licensing System, or GDL for short. This is super important to wrap your head around because it means you don't just get full unrestricted driving privileges all at once. It's not a free-for-all. Instead, you earn those privileges in stages, and it all starts right here with the learner's permit. This system is actually scientifically designed to introduce driving to teens gradually based on your age and your behind-the-wheel experience. It's basically there to keep everybody safer on the roads. So, as we mentioned, 14 is the absolute minimum age to apply for your learner's permit in Arkansas. And by letting you start at 14, the state is handing you a serious head start. It gives you a nice, long, supervised window to build those crucial defensive driving habits, figure out traffic flows, and really build up your confidence before you're ever legally allowed to drive a car totally on your own. Moving right along to Phase 2, preparing and scheduling. Let's talk about how to book your test and study smart. Okay, before you even think about touching a steering wheel, the Arkansas State Police, or the ASP, requires you to pass 2 distinct hurdles. First up is a vision screening. You're going to need a minimum of 20/40 vision uncorrected, or 20/70 corrected. So, pro tip, if you wear glasses or contacts, make absolutely sure you bring them. The second hurdle is the written knowledge exam, and this is what thoroughly tests your comprehension of Arkansas traffic laws, road signs, and all those vital safety rules. Let's zoom in on that written test for a second. The exam is made up of exactly 25 randomized multiple choice and true or false questions. And here is your absolute golden ticket. Every single one of these questions is pulled directly from the official Arkansas Driver License Study Guide. Literally no trick questions from outside the manual. So if you master that guide, you are good to go. To successfully pass, you need to answer at least 20 of those 25 questions correctly. That's an 80% passing score. Now, I know that might sound a little daunting, and honestly, a fair amount of people do fail on their first try. But listen, if you take your preparation seriously, passing on the first attempt is totally within your reach. So here's your game plan for success. Step 1, study that official ASP guide top to bottom. Step 2, use online diagnostic practice quizzes. These are amazing for testing your knowledge retention before the real deal. And step 3, book your appointment weeks in advance using the TeleGov online scheduling portal. Let me tell you, testing center slots fill up incredibly fast, especially around school holidays, so please do not wait until the last minute to lock in your appointment. All right, on to Phase 3, the required paperwork. This is where we master the 1, 2, 3 checklist, so parents, you'll definitely want to listen up here. Think you can just casually show up and test? Think again. Arkansas has extremely strict, federally aligned identification standards. It is a super rigid system. Missing even one single required document or bringing the wrong format means you will get turned away at the door by the state police. No exceptions. And if that happens, you've got to start the whole scheduling process all over again. Talk about a headache. To prevent that disaster, you have to nail the ASP's 1, 2, 3 checklist for applicants under 18. You'll need to prove your identity with a primary ID. Think a U.S. birth certificate or passport, plus a secondary ID. You'll also need your social security number and proof of legal presence. And here's a huge one for teenagers. You must bring a school enrollment form signed by your school showing you maintain at least a 2.0 grade point average.
Yep, you heard that right. In Arkansas, your driving privileges are literally tied to your grades.
And I cannot stress this pro tip enough. It will literally save you a wasted trip. All the documents you present must be original or certified copies directly from the issuing agency. Do not bring photocopies, do not bring printed scans, and definitely leave those laminated birth certificates at home because the state police will absolutely reject them. Finally, if you're under 18, your parent or guardian has to physically be there with you. They'll need to sign an ASP-33 form, which essentially means they are officially accepting financial responsibility for you as a driver. But pay close attention to this next detail. That form has to be notarized, and once the notary stamps it, it's only valid for 30 calendar days, so you've got to time your paperwork perfectly with your test date. Okay, we've made it to phase 4, conquering test day. Let's walk through exactly what to expect when you actually get to the testing office. First things first, you'll check in at the Arkansas State Police facility where they're going to rigorously verify all those documents we just talked about. Next, you tackle the vision test. After that, they'll point you to a digital kiosk to knock out your computerized knowledge test. Now, here's a very specific Arkansas twist. The state police administer the test, but they don't actually hand you the physical permit. Once you pass, you take your stamped, approved paperwork over to a local DFA revenue office. That is where you finally pay, snap your photo, and get that physical card in your hand.
Let's quickly look at the financial side of things and bust a really common myth. The actual written test taken at the ASP, totally free. And when you head over to the DFA, the permit fee itself isn't some flat $40 charge like an adult license. It's actually a prorated base fee of $12 or less, depending on your exact age, plus just a few small state surcharges for things like the eyesight test.
Now, what if you get to that kiosk and your mind just completely goes blank? Look, do not stress if you fail the first time. It is incredibly common. The state rules simply say you have to wait 5 calendar days before you can retake the knowledge exam. That's it. Just use those 5 days to review the manual, brush up on the stuff that tripped you up, and come back ready to crush it.
And that brings us to our final phase, phase 5, rules of the road. Let's go over the restrictions and your next steps once you have the permit.
So with a learner's permit, you're essentially in training mode, which means you can never drive alone. A licensed adult who is at least 21 years old must be awake, alert, and sitting right there in the front passenger seat with you. Seatbelts are absolutely mandatory for every single person in the car. And maybe the toughest one for today's teens, using a cell phone or any wireless device while driving is 100% banned. The only exception is if you're reporting an actual emergency. Your ultimate goal in this GDL system is just to practice safely. Once you get your permit at 14 or 15, you have to hold on to it for at least 6 months while keeping a flawlessly clean driving record. We're talking 0 accidents and 0 traffic violations. Pull that off, and you become eligible to level up to an intermediate license the moment you turn 16, which unlocks a whole new tier of driving freedom.
Now, just as a quick reminder, the bureaucratic landscape can sometimes shift. While we've given you a really comprehensive roadmap in this explainer today, things like state rules, specific fee structures, and exact document requirements can change. So we strongly advise that you always double-check the official Arkansas DFA and state police websites just to confirm the latest regulations before you head out the door. Getting your permit is a massive milestone. It represents real independence. But as the old saying goes, driving is a privilege, not a right. It takes preparation, total focus, and a huge sense of responsibility. We've unpacked exactly how the Arkansas system works, what tests to prepare for, and how to conquer that mountain of paperwork. So the only question left for you is, when are you going to open up that study guide and finally earn those keys?